All right. I think it's about time we speak to another person. Anyone want to do the honors this time?
Give me 1 second and I can.
Haha, not if I do it first. And bam, there we go. Hello and welcome.
Well, this is something different. Who are you?
I am Rue.
I'm Ephraim.
And I am Ashra.
Well, it's definitely a pleasure to meet you all, though never been somewhere like this before.
So, could we ask what your name is?
Of course, I'm called Hana Belshmidt, but feel free to just call me Hannah.
Don't mind if I do.
Well, Hannah, would you have a few moments to speak with us? We just want to ask you a few questions, get to know you.
Well, sure. Wasn't it anything important?
You sure we didn't interrupt the dream?
Oh, don't worry about that. It's perfectly fine.
Alright.
You know what? How about we get some refreshments since we pulled you in here so abruptly? Jeremy, please bring some tea and some of those delicious cookies.
Oh, cookies, you say? Oh, my grandmother makes the best cookies, I swear. Though one of my friends didn't seem to like them too much. Said there were souls inside them. I swear she sees things.
I have heard of people who put their soul in cookies.
How many of those have you eaten?
Not sure. But it's a bit disturbing that people would do that.
Be a bit tasty. But Anna, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Where did you come from?
Well, I come from the coastal shores. A bit about myself. Well, that's a little personal. But since this is a dream, I guess, I wouldn't mind divulging. What are you going to do with the information? But I am a naval officer. Well, ex naval officer turned hero, I guess. I was raised in a family. My mother, my father, my younger sister, and my grandmother. We call her Grand. She's the best. She helped me get through a lot. My father raised me to be a soldier, to say. And I was. Best soldier in my fleet, to be exact. Rise the ranks pretty fast. Up shined my father, of course. He wasn't too happy to hear about that promotion. I fought a war. A long, very hard war. A lot of death. A lot of comrades gone. But I eventually came home, and my family was gone. So, like any normal person would, I went to look for them. And I found some strange characters along the way, and they helped me find my family. Oh, of course, as soon as I got them out, Father decides that it's time to fight with Hannah. Mother, of course, sided with him. Artemis didn't say much, but we got them to safety. Grand made cookies. Ploy for revenge. To get back at the man who imprisoned my family. Get the best of me.
Who was that man?
The new ruler of the land. A lich known by the name of Cygnus. There were these guards that were pretty much just suits of armor with some dark mass inside, like air almost. They called themselves the Sons of Cygnus. They served him. They were his top people. They still didn't stand a chance, though. But after that, funny story, we ended up going to another land. This land was named Texas Land, which is a weird name, so I say. But it's apparently where one of my friends, her name was Daffy, it's where she was from. Apparently, her father had a fight club in their tavern, in which Daffy decided, we should take part in. Well, there was a person there, who went by the alias of Thor, and I was excited, because there were other people that knew my gods. But the fight happened, and me and Daffy fought each other. I let her win, of course. I'm not that cruel. But we ended up getting to meet the actual Thor.
The actual Thor?
Yes, it was amazing. We were taken through this room. It was a long hallway, and there was a wooden door at the end that we went through. And it opened up into this massive hall. Not like a hallway hall, but pillars made of granites and marbles. Forge, which intrigued me. I love forges. And Thor was there, and he spoke with us. He told us we need to leave, that we were needed back in our plane. Daffy wanted to stay a little longer in Texas Land, but we were needed back where everyone else was from. Thor gave me this hammer. We called it the Ashes of Phoenix. I wasn't quite sure why then it was named in such a manner, but I later came to find out why. I was so grateful. I was blessed with a hammer from Thor himself, a god who I never thought I would actually see face to face. It was amazing. We ended up getting back to our world, and we met another being. His name was Karn. He told us he would help us fight Cygnus, save the land. But we had to go through the outskirts. It was a harsh land that no one had really gone through before. We ended up having a guide that came from said land. He took us around to help us find what we needed. And we ended up finding something strange, the source of an odd power, a large mass skeleton. We didn't know what it was a skeleton of, though. We went to investigate it. Almost got caught investigating it, too. It was the bones of a god. Can't for the life of me remember which one it was, though. As if that memory is fuzzed out for some reason. But as soon as we found it, that's when Karn turned on us. He just wanted this power. We had to fight. We fought hard, and somehow we managed to win. We ended up getting out of that area and restoring the bones.
The bones of the god?
Yes, not cleaned as much as purified. The decay was gone. The Lich's control faded from the area. We knew what we needed to do. We couldn't put off fighting Cygnus any longer. His reach was spreading out too far. Something had to be done. And so we stormed his castle, which was oddly undefended. It
Underfunded?
undefended. It struck me as a military officer. It struck me as a weird strategy. But it wasn't a trap. We got through. Somehow, some way, the gods were really on our side that day. We fought Cygnus a long time, or maybe it just felt that long. But we almost lost Benevito. We almost lost Kane. It was me and Daffy together at the end. We managed to save the others, and I was able to make the final blow, or what I wanted to be the final blow. I remember raising my hammer, ready to strike, and then a burning sensation filled me, like fire erupting forth from myself. I felt my feet pick up off the ground, and I was confused. The runes on my hammer were glowing, bright oranges, yellows, and it erupted into flames. I realized why that hammer was called the Ashes of Phoenix. It didn't stop me. I slammed the hammer down on Cygnus, smacking him straight into the chest. And as soon as the hammer connected, there was just light and warmth, a burning warmth. It exploded into flames. It was beautiful in a way. We had Cygnus down on his last leg, down on a knee on the ground in front of me. I just remember floating there, looking down at him, only remembering the feeling of rage and wanting to end this. But then something felt off, almost like an implosion underneath us. Things started to fracture and break, and the colors of the world started to disappear. I looked back down, and Cygnus was gone. This snapped me out of whatever trance I was in. I remember my feet touching the floor again. Me and Daffy got Benevito and Kane up off the ground. They were better now. They could move. We ran. We ran as fast as we could. We managed to get back in time to start ushering people through the rift into Texas land, which was on a different plane, I guess, a different realm of its own. It wasn't being affected by whatever was happening in my home. The last thing I remember seeing is the grass turning from a bright green to this gray. We all stepped through the portal, and the rift closed. Everyone was in safe, except one person that I cared about. My sister wasn't there. No one could tell me where Artemis was. I still wonder to this day if maybe she is here, and I just haven't found her. Either way, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I hope so too.
My apologies. That was a long story, huh?
Yeah, quite detailed.
And I say, war PTSD makes you have the memory of an elephant.
Now, why would someone name a place after Texas? That seems dreadful.
Texas, my friend.
What's a Texas?
I honestly, I don't know.
In one of the realms, it's, I believe, the name of a very large landmass.
Oh, I see. They wear funny hats and shoes with weird little throwing shurikens on the back of them. They kind of go clinkety clink.
I'm not sure, but I have heard the phrase high noon there before. I'm not sure why.
I'm sure that everyone from that place don't mind stereotypes, but they all ride horses and shout yeehaw.
Yes! That was one of Daffy's favorite phrases. She was always like, "Yeehaw, pew pew," with her weird gun things. I've seen guns. We have guns where I'm from. These ones were odd. The barrel was small. It was a handheld, kind of like our pistols that we have. I don't know. It just looked different. If you catch my drift, like I don't know. But she was interesting. Though I never understood why she didn't like Grand's cooking. Or Gran in general. She seemed to be scared of her. Nothing else scared Daffy except Gran, and I never understood why.
Grannies can be scary. So you mentioned Kane, Benevito, and Daffy. Those were your party members?
Yes, they were friends. They became like family in the end, to be honest. Benevito, he was an elf. He had a strange ambition to teach the world how to heal people without the use of magic. He had this funny little bag full of odd knives and sewing stuff. I watched him bring someone literally back from the brink of death using nothing but all of the stuff in that bag. Not once did he use magic to bring them back. That was a sight to see.
And you mentioned you've met Thor. Could you tell me which Thor was that?
Well, Thor, son of Odin.
Well, she said the Thor.
Yeah, the Thor. Are there more than one Thor?
First name the, last name Thor.
I don't think there's many of those, but I don't believe "the" was their first name.
Very true. No, he just went by Thor. Son of Odin, he was a forge master. He smithed me the hammer that I use and the armor I wear. He's the reason I became, well, this, aka what people call me now, the Phoenix. Adequately named, I suppose, after bursting into flames.
Yes. And while we're talking about the items that you have, I noticed you have a few interesting items besides the hammer. Could you tell me a bit about that amulet and the circlet?
Of course. This amulet was something that Gran gave me. She told me it would not only protect me, but help me protect the others around me. When I wear it, I feel stronger. Like I can fight the world. And the circlet. I can't even remember how I came about it now. But it lets me do really interesting things. Her mouth isn't moving. As you can see, I'm still speaking with you all. Really cool trick, huh?
Yeah, that must be handy if you're like drinking tea at the same time as you're talking.
Oh, definitely. It also helps spook people, which can be a little funny.
And could you tell us a bit about your maybe some favorite things that have happened with your party?
Hmm. Oh, yes, I can remember a couple of things that have happened. Some very humorous, others a little odd. One situation that sticks out is we were in Texas land and there was this group of bandits that were surrounding us, trying to fight us. It was only me and Daffy, Benevito, and Kane. And let me tell you about Kane. Kane is a massive dude who is a crab, and he likes to punch holes in walls. I've watched him do it. I've seen him walk straight through a door instead of opening it.
A massive crab dude.
Mm, pretty much. But him and Benevito were off doing something together. And that's when me and Daffy got ambushed, pretty much. Me and Daffy were trying to fight, and
Each other?
no, the bandits. Though me and Daffy did tend to get into arguments. often. We had some different views, to say. But we were fighting the bandits. It was a losing battle at this point. Luckily, though, we heard the crackling of lightning. Suddenly we hear Kane's voice, but louder and more booming. And we just hear, pinch, 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 pinch. I'm coming for you. Pinch, pinch, pinch. And me and Daffy are flabbergasted, and we look into the sky, and there, painted in lightning, is just Kane, terrifyingly pinching his claws as he stares down at everybody. The bandits are terrified. Most of them run. The other ones, me and Daffy, take the liberty to knock out while they're distracted. That was honestly pretty funny. And just to hear Kane go pinch, 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 I'm coming for ya, pinch, pinch, I almost died. I don't laugh often, but I almost died. I almost lost my cool. Another moment I can remember. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say that everyone needs to laugh upon occasion.
I agree. I've more recently found out that I actually look better when I smile. I guess the scar looks better with a smile rather than a frown. It was nice. But another little story I remember is we were back home in our plane and we found a cave. We were exploring through it and we found boxes upon boxes of this odd glowing bluish powder. We didn't quite know what it was. So Daffy decided she was going to see what it did. I also wanted to kind of see what happened. So I dab my finger just a little bit. I kind of look at it and I'm like, and I kind of sniff. Nothing happens. I'm like, this smells like chalk, ground up bone, something. Daffy's like, oh, let me see if I can figure it out more. She gets down and she looks at a pile of this powder. Me and Benevito look at each other, look back at Daffy, wonder what the heck she's gonna do. And this woman just suddenly smashes her face into this powder, sniffs as hard as she can, gets up, looks at us, looks to Benevito, and just like, I don't feel so good, partner. And just collapses on the ground. This is how we later found out that our friend Daffy here is actually not just a tiefling, but also undead. So, our friend Benevito, he works on her to bring her back. We end up getting her back. But something's changed. She's human now, which was really, really weird. But, yeah, she pretty much murdered herself, was brought back as a person, as a human. But yeah, we nicknamed this blue powder out Magic Cocaine. Because it was pretty much cocaine. But apparently it was okay for everybody else, but if you were undead and sniffed this stuff, you were gonna die again and possibly come back human. Who knows? Maybe it was just Daffy. We didn't really experiment. We weren't that cruel.
Also, just because we're not advertising, I want to say other drugs are available. But how did you and your party feel about Benevito being undead?
You mean Daffy?
Daffy, sorry.
In the moment. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Did you sniff that blue powder?
No. Dry throat. I'm gonna drink some of this tea. Refreshing.
It is Mountain Peak herb tea.
It's very good. But in the moment, everybody else was fine. Except me. Me and Daffy already had differing opinions on things. And finding out that she was undead made me despise her even more. I will be honest, I used to have a hate against the undead. I fought a war longer than 2 years against them. Lost so many friends, comrades, and then watched them be reanimated to fight against us. I hated the undead. I wanted to wipe them from the face of this world.
Did something happen to cause your hate?
The war. It was against the undead. Sorry, I get a little emotional thinking about it.
I understand.
But when you watch people you were just having dinner with the other night or someone you loved march on that battlefield just to be struck down by something that no longer has a pulse, something that's no longer living, to have everything yanked away by that causes you to hate them. And I did. I hated them so, so much.
You told us about all the things you hate. What about the things you love?
Believe it or not, I love flowers and I love to cook and bake with my gran. I love gran and I love cats. Cats are amazing. I had a pet cat before. She had a little birth defect. Her tail was split, so it was like she had a normal base, and then about halfway through it split like she had two little tails. It was really cute.
Sounds adorable.
Where did you get them?
Me and my younger sister, Artemis, we found her wandering around outside as a kitten. She looked like she was not more than 3 or 4 weeks old. She was mewing loudly, trying to find her mother. We tried to help her. We looked around for her too. We couldn't find anyone. We kept searching, and I told Artemis that I couldn't find the mother or the other kittens. But that was unfortunately a lie. Artemis was only 5, and what I found I did not want her to see. So instead, I told her we couldn't find him. And so we took the kitten in, and me and Artemis cared for it and made sure it grew up. We ended up naming her Fenrir. I thought it was really adorable. She did, however, and this is even more funny, she didn't like my dad and would constantly bite him.
Oh?
Almost bit his finger off.
Oof.
Yeah, he's got a nice scar on his middle finger where she almost tore it off. So, I find it even funnier that her name is Fenrir. Uh, I love cats, and Fenrir was my baby till I was deployed. Then Fenrir became my sister's baby.
I have two myself. They tend to like to perch on my shoulders, but they appear to be doing their own thing today.
Come here, cute kitties.
Don't summon them.
Kitties. Aw. But I want to see. I love them. I love cats so much.
As she's performing the ritual.
The cat ritual.
I have one question before we run out of time. I've been asked to ask
Mhm.
this recently. If you had to choose, what would your favorite type of pie be?
That is a magnificent question, my friend.
Yes, there's so many.
I'm a big fan of cream pies, any kind of cream pies. Um, but I really like my grand's banana cream pie. It's very good. She lets me use some of my own little magicness to toast it. It's great. I love it. Gran is top tier quality.
Now that you've gotten your family back, how do you feel?
Not as angry. I've grown to forgive and let go. I don't even hate my father anymore. It's nice to have them back. But I still worry about my sister. She's very capable. Wherever she is, I know she's doing fine.
I believe she is as well, but I believe that is all the time we have.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, and until next time, have a good awakening.